Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another night of TGP2 action. We are all set for races tonight in Belgium and the Netherlands. Not a great distance to travel between both races tonight. But where is the World Championship leader? Well, he's not here tonight. So this is a perfect chance for Camababo to get back in the championship hunt. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if ideally he could do with winning both races tonight. And I think that would help him. He is 63 points behind Wet Lemons though, so it's going to be a tough ask to do so. But we'll see if he can to get back into this championship hunt. Do you think he can do it, Roy?
Um, well, he can certainly knock a good chunk out of it. If he gets, we'll say, two third places, that's already, 30 points, but that's still 33 points back. So, yeah, it is a tough ask over the course of the season, but he can definitely make a big dent tonight. He could get up to 52 points, I believe, with the fastest lap points. So, there is a lot of points on offer, but he has to make the opportunities count.
I haven't even seen Camaro come out on track yet, and I'm not really sure why, to be honest. I don't believe he has a qualifying ban or anything. I know Wheelnut's got a qualifying ban, so we won't be seeing him come out. But Camaro hasn't actually come out on the track yet, so not too sure what that's all about. We are expecting it to possibly be a wet race, 70% chance of rain, so I don't know if that's playing into it. Because at the moment you can see it's Theo Hickman on pole, who of course done so well in that wet race at Silverstone. Makery is in second, and we've got Bazza in a very solid third place at the moment with 3.5 minutes to go in the session.
Yeah, we've got a fairly mixed up grid so far. Red Bull Kim currently running in P10. I think he'd be pretty happy with that. And yeah, that's the thing with Belgium though. It is quite difficult to actually set a lap around here, be it through track limits or just the curbs, or it is very difficult to actually nail a lap around here on this game. So yeah, I think that's why we're seeing a bit more of a field spread compared to usual. As Indecisive Mackie has a big crash at the start of the final sector. He has no front wing left. He hasn't got enough. I don't think he has enough time to go
No,
back
I
into the
don't think he
pits.
will. I don't think he
So
will. Oh God, well, he's going to crash there then. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be session over for Indecisive. I mean, I suppose if he really wants to, he could just try. He could completely cut the corner and just go straight into the pit lane. But I don't think he would have enough time to get round and get another lap in. So it's probably game over for Indecisive. He will be down in at least ninth place. And Karen Babel is now out on track, look, on his out lap. But I bet this is his first lap on track of the entire session. So he looks like he's just going to go out at the very end of the session. And sure, is he that confident that he can snatch the pole position?
he must. Has he been on track at all though? Because I don't recall seeing
No,
him.
no,
But
I was just looking at the race director and he hasn't he has not completed the lap.
okay, not quite sure what the issues were there. Perhaps some technical gremlins in the Alpine garage as Sayer Sports improves his time but stays in P8. So plenty of cars on outlaps. So I have to say we're pretty in sync with the field here. Like everyone's on their outlaps right at the end. Everyone seems to be on the same kind of plan, or most people seem to be on the same kind of plan. Sarah Sports is kind of the only one who's out of sync there.
Oh, no,
Um,
look, he's come straight into the pit lane, Kamababo.
he must have a qualifying ban.
He must do, yeah.
Let me
That's
see.
I can only assume that that's possibly for the instance at the end of the race in Hungary, but uh, I did not hear about him getting any sort of qualifying ban or read about it. Like I said, no Wheelnut's got one, but that is a big surprise then. And Conor Barber will have to fight his way from 12th place, it seems, at the minute, if he wants to win this race. But it is going to be wet, we think, so it's going to be a crazy one.
Yeah, and I think Kamababo, I've just seen, does indeed have a qualifying ban. So he's just making sure that he gets his setup loaded on the car. You are allowed to set sector times as long as you don't give anyone a tow, and just stay out of everyone's play. And Mike Noon, by the way, while we were trying to assess that, as I was actually watching his lap, he's gone into P3. So Mike Noon then with a great deal of pace. Kamababa officially retires from the session. And who have we got then on laps? You have Chris
I think we got
Johnson.
everybody pretty much just starting the laps now for the final run to see where they can put themselves on the grid. Chris Johnson says he's gone purple here in sector 1, 30.5. Let's see what Theo's first sector was. It was also a 30.5, so decent first sector for Chris.
We've Stereogram retiring in the final sector, which shouldn't provide any kind of distraction for the drivers who will be approaching him. I think Chris Johnson is the nearest one, as Baza, I think, just crossed the line in time to start his final attempt.
Yeah.
But Chris Johnson there didn't seem to be quite using as much of the road as he perhaps could have through Puan. Through the final chicane then. Oh, Chris Johnson!
He's lost it at the exit, the final chicane, and that's it then. He's down in 7th place. Jack Pearson was set at 30.3 first sector, so he's absolutely flying, although he's gone very wide into Puan, but gets away with it in terms of having his lap invalidated. Got May Quimby also on a quick lap at the end of the session, so we're going to see some improvements at the end here.
And yeah, Theo has invalidated his lap.
Invalidated.
So Jack Pearson is going to be the first one. It's just about legal, but he's messed up his
he's lost time in the middle sector, hasn't he? And Owen's also invalidated in 2nd place as well, so maybe we won't see a huge amount of improvements here. Bazet is possibly going to improve. We'll see if Jack has a magic final sector, because I think it's only those two right now who actually will end up improving. See Jack clouts the curb at the final chicane, the bus stop chicane, tries to get a good exit. Can he get any higher than 6th place? Oh, no, he can't, so he really lost time in that final sector. And Bazet is, I think he was just off slightly in the 2nd sector. But we'll see can he get ahead of his teammate, perhaps.
Let's see if he can nail the final chicane. Jack Pearson put together 2 very good sectors, but one fairly poor one. So in the end, remains P6. Probably could have been at least 3rd place had he nailed it all together. But Baza then crosses the line, improves his final sector, but does not improve his position. So there's a lot of if, buts, and what could have beens in that session. As I said, it's very difficult to nail a lap around here. There's so many places where you can invalidate your lap, spin, crash, you name it. So yeah, it's the kind of things we see around this track. So your grid then: Theo Hickman narrowly takes pole from Mayor Quenby. I think they'll both be pretty happy with that one, as will Mike Noon for Alfa Romeo in P3. Baza is an excellent P4 with Parsa in P5. Jack Pearson probably could have been a little bit higher up on the grid had he nailed that middle sector, but will start P6, so not the end of the world. Chris Johnson is P7, which is a little bit higher than we have normally seen him. Then a big gap then back to Marco in P8 for Red Bull. Sarah Sports is in P9 with Indecisive Mackie rounding out the top 10. Then we have Red Bull Kim and Stereogram, followed by Camo Babo, Kaya, Mr. John, M. Shep, and Daniel P. Wheelnut. So we had a fair few retirees, plus the 2 cars who had qualifying bans, as well as Mr. John at the back of the grid. So only 12 cars have set a lap to qualify for this race, which has a wet start.
Yeah, so that really was a mixed up grid then, wasn't it, as you said? And there we go. The wet grid then here in Spa. This is going to make things even more difficult for the drivers. Can Camo Babo come back from 12th place? He has to take advantage of Wet Lemons not being here tonight. He really, really could do with Storman to a victory here, but it's not going to be easy. We'll see what he can do. A reminder, the gap is 63 points. Camo Babo in 2nd place, 63 points, and then Wheelnut is about another 15 points behind that in 3rd place in the championship.
As we get ready to go racing then around Spa-Francorchamps, we are underway in Belgium. Looks like a pretty solid start from Theo Hickman. Indeed it is. Mike Noon then getting a better start than Owen and losing the rear there, it seems. The Alfa Romeo not enjoying these conditions as Owen is pushed a little bit wide, and Owen is now down into P6, so a pretty terrible start from the Mercedes driver. I don't think he likes these conditions. Now Radion on lap 1 is quite the challenge. You don't want to be the first one to approach it. You see a Red Bull going very wide through there. Crashes have been not avoided. I thought we avoided all crashes, but Stereogram has retired, and we have a virtual safety car on lap 1. And great news for...
this one's been hit! Someone's been at the Ferrari. He's gone into the back of Mike Noon, one of the Ferrari who was Parser, and he's been given a penalty for it. And because it spun Mike Noon to the very back as well, they were all having to work out where to put themselves there. And Owen's also got no front wing. Owen has no front wing. Mike Noon nearly lost it through Eau Rouge and the top of Radion, and then he got hit by Parser. And well, we know there's been an update to the game which makes the fix the penalty system slightly with instance under the safety car, and I have to say the proof of that is in the pudding already, so fair play there, because last week Mike Noon would have got a penalty for that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have actually, yeah. So good to see a car that has innocently spun to the back of the grid doesn't get penalised. Or at least we assume, anyway. I mean, I can't imagine why it would have been Mike at fault there, because it's a virtual safety car, you have to slow down. So,
And Owen got one as well for hitting the back of Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher had a phenomenal start up into fourth place. Parser was all over the place on the exit of La Source. So was Owen as well, and it's allowed Mick Schumacher to power through, and Chris Johnson as well in excellent third place. So we have now got a full safety car out, and a pretty chaotic start to the race. Coming back up to 7th.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out he's basically 5th because Mayor Quemby and Parser have to pit.
Yeah,
so
that's very true.
Camo Babo then, if he can display some wet weather pace, we'll be loving this opportunity. And I believe it was Silverstone that we had a wet race in last week.
Yeah.
And Camo Babo was flying out there. He had a lot of pace, so he'll be hoping for a repeat of that. Now, I believe these drivers will be able to serve 5-second penalties now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can. With the penalties now, but obviously Owen will have to change his front wing. I imagine Parser probably got damage as well from hitting the back of Mike Noon. Mike Noon didn't get any damage at all, and of course also doesn't have any penalty to serve, so he's just gone to the back of the grid now. But no penalty, which is fantastic for him. Parser and Owen at the very back, and of course they both put another set of intermediate tyres on then. So safety car out after a crazy start in Spa. I have a feeling it might not be the last safety car in this race.
Yeah, it's we didn't make it to the end of Sector 1, but to be honest, that can be expected with wet races at Spa. It is treacherous out there. It's not an easy track to do. Even in the dry, in qualifying we saw it is difficult to nail a lap around here, so in the wet it becomes even worse, especially when you're surrounded by other cars. So
it was some save as well from Mike Noon on Eau Rouge, and I think there was a few others as well who were getting a bit slidey through there, who just managed to save the car, and in the end it was just the one driver who actually crashed there in the former Stereogram. Stereogram does tend to stream as races, doesn't he? So I might have a quick look and see what happened, if he collided with anybody or if it was just an instance himself there as he went through the corner.
So Mike Noon then up to 13th. I'm pretty sure he'd prefer to be about 10 places higher than that, but unfortunately his race has been very much compromised, and Amazon are very keen to show us the pit strategy. They either won't stop or they'll stop between laps 5 and 10, which bit vague, but thank you Amazon either way. So Theo Hickman then leading this race. The field is all bunched up and it's a pretty short race in terms of laps, so I'd imagine it will come in this lap.
It'd be good if it did. It'd be really good if it did come in this lap, but I don't think it's going to. No. We're going to have another full lap, but yeah, as you say, they're all caught up. It is a short race, so it would have been fantastic if we got the race back underway there. But I wonder what this possibly is going to do with the weather. Obviously, it's obviously going to prolong the race now. It was only a 70% chance of rain. Could it possibly dry up towards the end? We don't know. But right now, raindrops definitely still falling, so I don't think we'll see any cars coming into the pit lane. Theo's driving very close to that safety car, isn't he? And wasn't it in Baku? I remember he actually passed the safety car and got disqualified when it was deployed in an earlier race in the season. Doesn't want to be doing that again.
Yeah, I always like to keep a bit of distance. Although sometimes you keep your distance and it tells you to catch up. So
yeah,
sometimes you get some mixed messages, but yeah, just keep a bit of distance between yourself and the safety car. That's one car you do not want to be too close to. So let's have a look then. Let's have a look at the positions gained and lost and retained. Let's see. So position change. Well, I think the big winner has to be Camel Babo, up 10
Yeah.
places from where he started. And the big losers have been Mike Noon, Mayor Quenby, and Parsa. Now, I mean, who actually deserves to have lost places is another
Yes.
matter, but certainly have been the big losers either way. Wheelnut up 7 places, Mr. John up 6. So the only two people, there's only 3 drivers who have actually, retained their position, which are Theo, Jack Pearson, and Kaya. So only 3 drivers have actually stayed as they were. So we had a fairly jumbled up grid, and now we have a fairly jumbled up race order. And
Well,
I'm quite excited to see this one pans out.
Hickman done so well, didn't he, last week in the rain in Silverstone when we weren't expecting it. Can he maybe do that again? I think it's too late now in the season for him to really mount a championship challenge. He's on 116 points, Wet Lemon Championship leader on 205. So I suppose it's not impossible. If he was to win both races tonight, he get a bit closer, and instants can happen. We've still got what? I think we've still got about another 10 races to go, so it's not totally out of the question. But he will still try and race for the victory no matter what. And if he can have a good restart here like he did in Silverstone after the safety car, he may well be away, because Bazza behind in second place. Does he have the wet weather pace to keep up with Hickman? Can Bazza win his 9th race perhaps in TGP2 history here?
Well, we've got confirmation the safety car will indeed be in this lap, so tense moments for Theo. I'd rather be in Baz's position than Theo's right now, because leading a race around Spa is, or in the wet certainly, is never ideal. Being the first one to heading into Radion, and also, the large slipstream effect that you do get in that first sector. But let's see then, how does Theo decide to approach this? Does he go as late as possible, or does he try to surprise them early on?
I think the one that I'm also going to be watching at this restart is Camababo on the back of Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher, obviously, not often you see him running up this high. Mick Schumacher, of course, is obviously Marco. Not often you see him running up this high, and Camababo will want to try and get past him straight away.
And Theo Hickman then a little bit deep into the first part of that chicane, but so was Bazza. But Bazza is sticking with him here, and it looks like he's actually got a much better exit out of that chicane. So Bazza putting Theo under pressure already. So Bazza is in prime position now to get a run on Theo. Maybe a little bit of contact made there. I don't think any damage will be done from that. And Bazza then with a better exit once again. I don't know if that's through ERS deployment or if that's just through sheer traction. I think Theo will be hoping for the former. But look at the run that Bazza has now on Theo Hickman. He has the whole straight now to slipstream his way past Theo Hickman. There's no DRS, and there never will be in this race if it stays in these conditions. But we have Kaya at the back, who has retired at Radion. Don't know if that will cause any other delay in this race, as Theo runs a bit wide, takes a bit too much speed through the middle part of the Lacombe section. And Bazza, he's still pretty close to Theo here, so Theo's not out of the woods yet.
Camababo almost nearly getting past there by Jack Pearson. He was right on the back of Mick Schumacher, couldn't get past him. Jack nearly took full advantage of that, but no positions are being changed, and Kaya is the yellow flag's cleared now, so that's not going to be another safety car for now. Hickman's now started to pull away a little bit, hasn't he, in this second sector? Has Bazza possibly missed his opportunity? Is Camababo going to go for Marco now for 4th place in Stefani chicane? He needs to get this done, and he's late on the brakes. Oh, he makes slight contact. Can Marco try and hang it out? No, he can't, and that's 4th place for Camababo, and he's loses it on the curve. Mick Schumacher. Can Jack Pearson now get him around the outside here? This would be a brave move. He might be able to sell him the dummy and go the other way. This is going to be pretty tight now. He had to back off a little bit there, and then he's going to lose a load of time, having to back off the throttle there as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Jack didn't just tuck in behind Marco there, because he was never going to go up the inside of that corner. And we have an incident at the back. We have Mike Noon, I believe, having a moment.
Yeah, got no front wing.
So it goes from bad to worse for Mike Noon. And Bazza, he's still kind of with Theo here. Of course, the dirty air will take effect in that middle sector, so It is hard to follow cars around here. It's one of the harder tracks to follow cars around, especially in that middle sector. But of course, you do get sectors 1 and 3, which more than make up for that. So a lot of slipstream is going to occur down this Camel Straight that we're about to approach, but they have to get through Radion first, and it looks like Theo negotiated that a good bit better than Baza, and indeed he has. He is pulling away down the Camel
Yeah.
Straight, and it's all fairly equidistant between the top three. Everyone's just kind of 6/10 away from each other. No one's really making
Who
any
we've
kind of
got?
impression, but someone who is making an impression is Jack Pearson on the inside of Marco. How much does Marco want to fight this? Quite a bit, actually. There was room given, just about. Slight contact was made, but it all seemed just about fair to me. And Jack Pearson is up into P5.
Nice move by Jack Pearson, Inside Sports from the Indecisive, also going side by side there. And Mr. John on Wheelnut as well. Wheelnut goes a little bit wide, and Mr. John stays in ninth place for the time being then. So Kamababa was going to try and close in on a top three, 2 seconds to Chris Johnson in third place, and he hasn't really brought that gap down much since he made the move. As Indecisive goes very wide, the poo on, and could Mr. John take advantage of that? I don't think he will, but it's just so difficult to stay on the track, isn't it, in these wet conditions at Spa-Francorchamps today.
I think M-Shep was lining up Wheelnut for a move there. It does seem to have a bit more pace than the Mercedes driver, and nearly goes for it there. I don't know if he was caught off by Wheelnut braking early or if he braked too late. But either way, the AlphaTauri got very close to that Mercedes. And speaking of drivers getting close, Mr. John and Indecisive Mackie side by side, heading towards Blanchimont in the rain. It's not often you see moves happening there, but Mr. John moves his way past Indecisive Mackie and is now up into P8 as we see the Mercedes.
That was unbelievable.
It was the Mercedes of Daniel P. Wheelnut get absolutely swamped. Oh, and M-Shep has spun.
How has Owen done? He's actually, that is a legal overtake. He was about 10 years too late on the brakes, but actually Wheelnut is going to fight him off, and he's like, no, you're not going to just rob that off me. And the two Mercedes might go side by side here up to a ruse. Now Owen gets the move done on the exit of La Source. Well, he just came from absolutely nowhere there, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's not the first time I've been caught off guard by the Mercedes of Owen just randomly appearing on the screen, I have to say. So it does seem, in terms of braking performance, Owen is definitely up there. But yeah, and he goes for a move on Indecisive Mackie, who kind of makes a bit of a mess of the Lacombe section, and Owen is now up into P9. Can Wheelnut do the same? It looks like he can indeed, as he goes around the outside of the Bruxelles corner, and he is indeed back into the top 10, or rather just up into the top 10 because he started at the back of the grid. So, well, all fairly spread out now.
Fantastic stuff by Owen, taking full advantage of that, and we'll see how quick he can catch up to Mr. John in 8th place, because Mick Schumacher is now coming under some pressure from Mr. John and Sayer Sport, although Sayer Sport gets his line a bit wrong there through the French chicane, which loses him a little bit of time. Cameron Babel, remember, he was 2.1 seconds behind. He's now 1.5 seconds behind, so he's closing in a little bit. Chris Johnson also closing in slightly on Bazza, and Hickman's pulling away more and more now. 1.7 seconds is the gap out in front. We're on lap 6 of this race already. We're more than halfway through. It's Mr. John on the grass there on the approach to Blanchimont. Could be in a massive accident, but he gets away with it.
Yeah, Mr. John's pace seems fairly decent in this race as he is trying to line up Sayer Sports for a move. Sayer Sports is not too far off the back of Marco. Mick Schumacher in P6. But yeah, as you say, Camel Babo is closing in slightly on Chris Johnson, but not quite as much as he would have wanted. I think maybe P3 might be the limit for the Alpine driver, barring any incidents. But
Indecisive lost it at turn 1. I don't know what happened.
Mike Noon has lost it at Blanchimont. I don't think we'll get any virtual safety car for the debris caused by that. It must have been all offline. And I saw the Red Bull lifting off there.
There's Owen going for Mr. John. Yeah, he's going to pass him for 8th position, and that's Owen now into 8th place.
So Owen then back on a charge after the incident, however it was caused. Either way, it sent him to the back of the field, and he's now back up into P8, and Been doing fairly well so far. I know he's not the biggest fan of the wet conditions, but actually speaking of the conditions, I don't think has it actually rained in the last few laps.
It's still raining on my screen, but then I remember what happened in Imola that time, and it was still raining on my screen, but they were all going on dry tyres, so I don't know really. It's difficult to tell with this game, but I can definitely still see rain.
I think if there was a safety car brought out now, I would. I mean, obviously, if I was in the car, I'd have more access to to the weather. But
Yeah.
you might want to consider it. But yeah, I think as it stands, I don't think we're going to have enough time. But the track does look a little bit drier than it was earlier on in the race. But Mr. John then sticking with Mir Quenby here, still 6 tenths behind him. Sayer Sports getting closer to Marco up ahead. So, we have Mike Noon is now
Oh,
out of the session.
yeah,
And
and is that going to be a safety car? It is on lap 8. I don't know what it is this season in TGP2 with having late safety cars right towards the end. That's happening quite a few races this season. And we can add Belgium to the list now. And we're going to have pretty much a last lap shootout around here as well, because Mike Noon has crashed at, where is that? Is that at Malmedy he's gone off?
Is Malmedy the third corner of like the Lecom? Is like
Yeah,
the
I'm
third?
pretty sure it is.
Yeah. I believe it was there. Yeah, or maybe from the exit of the corner beforehand. But I want someone to go on slicks here, but I don't actually.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it might be worth it. I mean, if you're indecisive at the back, why not?
Yeah, like if you're M Shep indecisive Parsa, like just go for it, you know, because it may work out for you. I know there's a few drivers who do actually put the stream on in the background. So if you can hear me, and you're towards the back, and you're probably not going to make up a whole lot more positions, just go for it. But just ask Jeff what the weather's doing first, though, because
Yes.
yeah. But it to me it definitely looks like it stopped raining, and it does look a lot drier.
I mean, it's definitely still very much raining on my screen, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what Indecisive's doing. He's going very, very slow at the very back of the pack there. But so yeah. So will this be a full 2 laps under the safety car? I think it might just be the one, mightn't it? And we'll have lap 10 and lap 11 of racing.
Yeah, they tend to do that. I don't think we ever really get last lap shootouts around the tracks, but it is a short. Uh, it is only 11 laps, so we'll have to see. Now, I don't think anyone at the front is going to pit. There is still a bit of spray being kicked up. Like the track is not ready right now. Let's just confirm that. But
Yeah, none of the top 4, none of the top 5 are coming in. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It is raining on my screen, but the spray is definitely reduced from the early stages of the race. So is anyone going to come in? No, Wilnut not coming in. Parson, no. Now what will Shep? Red Bull Kim. Red Bull Kim is going very, very slow behind the safety car. Very, very slow. And Shep's not coming in. Of course, they'll probably all still be under Delta, won't they, until he cross the start-finish line. That will probably explain that one.
I just can't help but feel that it's Red Bull Kim.
No, they're all staying
Oh,
out.
come on.
So clearly the rain is still too much then, because they've all decided to stay out on track, and they have not decided to pit on lap 9 of 11 in this race, which is a bit of a disappointment, I have to say.
Yeah, like it's. Yeah, I wanted someone to take the risk. I thought Red Bull Kim might have been our best bet, but the track is definitely getting close to it though.
Yeah, but is there still raindrops on your screen?
There's the occasional little flick of rain, but like the track is drying quicker than it's being, re-moistened. So,
There's still quite a bit on my screen from the onboard cameras, definitely.
I'm getting nothing. Like, I may be getting something. I can't tell if that's rain or if that's just general kind of camera glitching, but I don't think it's raining, but the track is definitely getting drier. Although actually it is raining a little bit, but again, I think the cars are drying the track out quicker than it's staying wet. But it's not ready right now though for slicks. you know, he may have to
Yeah.
tiptoe for a lap, but I don't know. It is lap 9 of 11, so it is getting close to the end of the race. If there's another lap behind the safety car, then, you know,
Well,
indecisive has nothing to lose. Oh, but we're in this lap.
yeah, it is indeed. Safety car going in this lap then. So we'll be seeing the first safety car restart. Bazet, really his chance he missed out on, which was pretty much the first sector where he could have had the chance to make the move on Hickman, and then he began to pull away Hickman once we got to a roundabout Pouon. So Bazzet's got another chance here to snatch the victory. What can Cameron Babbo do as well, of course? He'll be right on the back of Chris Johnson now. Look how close they all are, how slow they're all going. Theo is really holding up. This is a lot more of a hold than what he was doing the first safety car restart.
Yeah, let's hope his tyres are up to temperature and he can handle the sudden increase in throttle application. And I think he looks to be making them wait here.
He is definitely making them wait.
Not really sure.
Here we go.
Oh, he's gone. He's actually timed that quite well. I don't think Bazza was preparing for that, but Bazza's still with him though. Bazza goes a little bit wider through the exit and does indeed actually get a worse exit compared to Theo, but he's still all over the back. It looks like Bazza has a lot more straight line speed. I know he's in the slipstream, but he does seem to reel Theo in on the straights quite a bit.
And he's had a good run. He's had a brilliant run as well through. Oh, he's tapped the back of him as he was pulling to try and make the move. And that's going to help Theo stay in the lead.
So on board of Bazza then through Radion. Can he get the run? He was a bit safe through there. He kind of had to steer out with some oversteer. But Bazza then in the slipstream of Theo, and I don't think the straight line speed is going to be enough to carry him through to the race lead. But Bazza then, he has a lot of confidence when we do these safety car restarts. He seems to find the grip a bit thicker, a bit quicker than Theo. But he remains in P2, so close though.
He definitely missed his. Theo's going to be a little bit wide into the hairpin there, but I think he's just about going to get away with it. But Bazza got a fantastic exit on the throttle on the exit of the source. But then, as he was pulling out to make the move, he tapped Hickman slightly, which of course slowed him right down. And now he's gone off a Pouon. Chris Johnson, though, isn't anywhere near to take advantage of that, but he's going to be so annoyed about that, Bazza. I don't think he can blame anyone for it, though, but he's missed his chance to take the lead. And yeah, Mr. John's gone for a spin at Pouon. That's going to put him now back to the very back of the grid, which is a shame considering he had really good pace so far. But it's very close now between the top five, especially. Jack Pearson does have a penalty, though, so that may not count for him if he makes up any position. But what can Cameron Babbo do as he get ready now for this final lap of the race? And Bazza's closing back in here on Hickman.
Bazza then with an excellent run in the final sector. Theo goes a bit wide through Blanchimont. Now does Bazza brake later than Theo? Indeed he does. And he's got the inside line for this bus stop chicane here, and Bazza seems to have the superior traction in general compared to Theo. Now if these two are going side by side, it could give Chris Johnson a run here. Theo is squeezing Bazza to the limit of the track. But Bazza then around the outside at La Source, they bang wheels, they're still side by side. Theo retains the race lead. They're going to be side by side heading into Eau Rouge. They are level pegging, and who's going to... Oh, no one retires, but Theo retains the lead then. Excellent driving from the Williams driver. And Bazza then, he has a bit of a run behind, and they're 3 wide behind, by the way. Yeah. Jack Pearson's on the inside. We've got Chris Johnson in the middle. And Camo Babbo's also involved, and the camera has changed to something not that I wanted, but Chris Johnson then just about holds on to that podium place. And Camo Babbo, he's got a penalty though. So
Chris Johnson's
he's lost
got a
the podium.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know how they've all got through that, and they've all stayed in the same top 5 positions, because that was insane. And as they were coming up to Eau Rouge, it was just a matter of who was brave enough, and Hickman decides to stick it out and kept the lead just about. But wow, that was close. And then, as you say, it was 3 abreast behind them. But Chris Johnson managed to hold them off somehow, just about. But then got himself a penalty. So Cameron Babbo, it looks like he will get a 3rd place. But can Bazza take the win? He must have more straight line speed, as you said, because he was flying through here on the previous lap, on the run through Blanchimont. This is going to be his last chance. They may be side by side crossing the line here.
Yeah, they both have a lot of errors at their disposal. And Bazza, he nearly hits the wall. That's his chance gone then. I don't think Chris Johnson has to run on Bazza. So he's just about safe, and I think we're gonna, barring any incidents, finish as we currently are. And Baz is actually derating right now, so Chris Johnson has a huge run on Baza, but of course Chris Johnson has a penalty, and there's no need for him to try anything silly. But out in front, then, a driver who has magnificently controlled this race from start to finish, Theo Hickman crosses the line to win in Belgium. Baza is an excellent P2 and pressured Theo right till the end. Camo Babo completes the podium. I think he'd be fairly happy with that after starting back in 12th. Chris Johnson just misses out on a podium place after picking up a penalty on the final lap. With Jack Pearson running at the top 5, Mick Schumacher an impressive 6th with Wheelnut 7th after starting from the back. Parsa, after an incident-filled race, crosses the line to finish in 8th. And your driver of the day is Camo Babo from his P12 to P3 drive.
Fantastic stuff there, and really clean driving as well through the top 5, despite the fact it was in difficult conditions and it was in the closing stage of the race and they were all trying to jostle for position. Absolutely brilliant racing from them all. But Jack's penalty, he finished across the line 5th place, but he had such a gap on Mick Schumacher, it didn't actually lose him any positions. Chris Johnson, though, I think he'll be disappointed to have to lose that podium.
Yeah, it seems Chris Johnson had the first lap that he needed to make up for his lack of qualifying pace, but just in this case, it doesn't seem the wet conditions are ones he tends to particularly excel in, so he just didn't have the pace. Although he was within range of the pace of the guys ahead of him, but just not enough to actually overtake them. So in the end, it is P4 for Chris. And I just ran through the top 8 as we finished that race, and it was Mr. John in 9th. I think Mr. John was 14th at one point on the penultimate lap, so he's made up a good few places at the end. Red Bull Kim, top 10 for Haas. Indecisive Mackie 11th with Sayre Sports 12th, and the final drivers in the points, they will be classified and they will score the points, are M. Shep and Mayor Quenby, who had another spin at the very end of the race, which resulted in his retirement. So still some traction issues to be ironed out from the Mercedes driver.
So that's 48 points now, the gap then at 3rd place for Camo Babo. 48 points is now the gap in the championship. So yeah, as I say, I think he'll be happy to have at least got the podium after starting at the very back of the race.
So on to Zandvoort. Quite the different circuit. And,
yeah, but also an equally entertaining one. Very, very fun to drive, and we've had some great races in TGP2 in the past around here for the second race of the night. And well, can't have a win of a quali ban this time, and he'll be determined to win it. As we say, the gap is now down to 48 points. So if he can win this, what's 48 take away 25? I'm trying to think in my head very quickly.
23.
Yes, it is 22 if he gets fastest lap as well. So he will surely be going all out for it in this race. But Hickman, it's such a shame really that he's not fighting for the championship, because when he's had bad races, he's had really bad races, and that's been his problem really, because this is his 4th win of the season. But it's just, when it's gone wrong for him this season, it's gone really, really wrong for him. So he's not really managed to be up there that much in a championship fight.
And the Netherlands then is, it can be a race of attrition. And I think the drivers better get used to the challenge, because I don't think the Dutch Grand Prix is going anywhere in the foreseeable future. They don't have any problem selling the tickets for that one. Just to bring some news for those watching this live, we may have some updates to the 2022 calendar.
Really?
The Turkish Grand Prix may be back on. There are some issues with Russia at the moment.
Is there? What's happening?
Well, apparently.
I'm only joking. I'm joking.
Well, I mean, the viewers may not have a clue, but well, apparently you can't buy tickets for the Russian Grand Prix, and you can buy tickets for the Turkish Grand Prix, which doesn't exist yet. but
I
that
can't.
could just be a glitch.
If the Russian GP does get cancelled, there's really no need for them to find a replacement because 23 races is already more than enough.
Oh, I agree.
So
But
22 would be fine, and then just move Singapore back by a week. So then you won't have to do the Singapore Japan back to back. That just seems perfect sense to me. But Liberty will want as many races as possible, obviously. So you know, I
common
mean, I wouldn't be
sense,
against the Turkish Grand Prix, but there's no need to have 23 races on the calendar.
common sense does not exist in Formula One.
Yeah,
So
that is
then,
true.
back to the action that we have on track and to stuff that is definitely happening, and
Yeah,
not
it's
just
Russia next week, by the way, in TGP too. That'll be fun.
oh, fantastic. It's to be fair, we do actually see quite a lot of drama around the Sochi Autodrome. It's one that can bring out some excellent racing, fantastic racing facility, of course. But here we are in Zandvoort, which in terms of
Old school
facilities,
circuit.
yeah, may not be as
Yeah.
impressive. The paddock's a bit cramped, um, but I mean, hey, it's a Benelux special tonight. Both tracks are a lot shorter than they once used to be, but I'm not the biggest fan of this track. I'm gonna be
I
honest.
love it. I
I
absolutely love this
I
track.
like Spa, but this I I don't get it. I just do not, I don't get it. I yeah. There's something. Maybe it's the curbs that aren't really helping it. To be honest, I've only actually driven it on this game, so maybe on a game I'm more comfortable with. It would be more to my liking. But yeah,
Well,
there's something about it that doesn't click with me.
dry race, but 20% chance towards the end. So may get a bit of rain towards the end of the race. We have had in the history of TGP around here quite a few mixed races in both of TGP one and TGP two. So we might get a repeat of that, but we will wait to find out.
So let's see. We've got a lot of drivers on their outlaps, as you would expect. We have a Haas, Red Bull Kim spun at the penultimate corner. We also saw Wheelnut having a moment on his outlap. So even on the outlaps, we have drivers struggling to find their way around this circuit. And
Well, I'm delighted to say
Jack
that
Pearson
Kamababa
spun.
is out on track.
Kawababa is out on track, yeah. And Mick Schumacher has retired at the final corner. Jack Pearson's gone for a spin at turn 2. So we have had 0 laps complete, and I think 0. I think that's only the first car to complete a flying first sector now, but we've already had 4 cars spin.
Well,
So
it's difficult sometimes around here with the curbs and such and such. But I love this circuit in on this game, and I enjoyed the Dutch Grand Prix as well last year in F1. Looking forward to it this year as well, of course. Yeah, it's just there's just something so unique about it.
oh, don't get me wrong. Like I can appreciate the challenge. I think it is more so the game than the track because there are certain.
Oh,
Oh, Indecisive Mackey's out of the session.
indecisive's crashed. Yes, where is that? I'm not sure where that is that he's crashed because they've just cut him. He's gone off in a straight line, and oh, it's after just after Shivlek corner, the exit.
Shy of black.
That's it. What you says. That's where he's
Okay.
gone off.
My pronunciation is probably still not quite as authentic as it could be. As M Shep sets the first lap of the session, not the most competitive one. We will see that beaten, and indeed we have. Chris Johnson is currently on provisional pole, but of course there's no real point analysing the order at this stage of the session. But I tell you what, Chris Johnson will be pretty happy if he can stay up there by the end of it. But still a long way of the session to go. But yeah, no, I think I would like this track perhaps on a different game because there are tracks that I do love on other games that I don't like on this one. Suzuka probably being the main example.
Yeah.
So I guess could just be more so that than the track itself. But who have we got on laps then?
We've
Parsa
got
is close.
got
Owen as well.
Jack Pearson. Oh, and he spun. He spun on the exit of the chicane. Jack Pearson looked like he was on a good lap, but he spun and he's actually hit the rear wing there in the barrier, and now he's reversing it and takes an even bigger whack. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's got a bit of rear wing damage now that they have to deal with the rest of the session. As Hickman puts it on pole.
Theo Hickman then laying down a solid benchmark. Kamababo invalidated his lap at the penultimate corner, so he had to return to the pits. But
Guy has lost it. That's Shivlek, big spin again. They are really struggling, aren't they? And he's done well there not to totally DNF the car.
Yeah, he needs to rejoin safely. He's got quite a gap to do so he should be fine. But yeah, that's what the yellow flag in Sector 2 is. He's taken out the brake marker board, although nobody brakes there, so it's not really the most necessary board. But we have an Alfa Romeo of Mike Noon returning to the pits. Is anybody on a flying lap? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Theo's 3/10 up. I think he's going to try and go even quicker than what he did last time round. Penultimate corner, Ali Lundijk, the final corner. Fantastic banking on the corner there. There's a tyre in the middle of the track on my screen, but that won't bother him as he crosses the line, and he does improve by 2.5 tenths almost, so 1:11.256. So getting quicker and quicker.
Parsa then crosses the line. He's 6 seconds down, so he's going for another flying lap with 40% errors. I'm not quite sure I see the logic in there, but we shall see how it pans out for him at the end of the session. Baza yet to set a time. He's currently on an out lap. It does seem though Theo did run out of deployment at the end of that lap, so you don't quite have enough to do 2 consecutive laps like that, and he did lose a little bit of time in the final sector on the pit straight, but obviously he still improved his lap because the rest of it was not ideal. Wheelnut is quite close to him though. He's only 400ths back.
Yeah, and it's looking like a good lap by Parser as well. He's in all the right lines through the second sector, and he's 2.5 tenths up on his previous lap right now into the chicane. Again, looks fairly decent. Try not to lose the car on the exit. He doesn't do that. Penultimate corner, took a bit of grass there on the entry. That might have lost him a bit of time, but now flat out all the way. And again, he gets on the grass slightly through the final corner. That would have lost him even more time there, and he actually did lose a tenth in the final sector. So he can definitely go quicker than that, Parser. Looks like we're going to have a close battle for pole here.
Yeah, this session is shaping up to be a bit more exciting than the last one. The last one was a bit of an anticlimax towards the end. But we got Sarah Sports on a lap in his Haas.
And Baz has just crashed as well. That's Chevrolet again, another one.
The Haas driver currently running in P8, and yeah, that's Baz is out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite the change in result as
Kamababo.
There's a benchmark. Suddenly it's a bit less close.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, we was hyping it up, saying it looks like a good quality, but that 10.8 lap time going to be quite difficult for everybody else to beat that, as Parser has spun. Parser was going for another lap because he's managed to spin there. I imagine he probably hit the curb, because if you hit the curb on the inside of that corner at turn 10, you will spin, and that's what Parser's done.
Jack Pearson then is in the final sector in his McLaren, currently running in P15, so I mean if he just sets a lap he'll be 11th at worst, and of course we have 3 cars who've already retired, so he might as well finish it. And Jack Pearson then crosses the line to jump up into P5. He's in that close range, that from second to 5th, they're all quite close, but I think there's a lot more pace to come, certainly from the likes of Theo and Parsa, who did their laps in suboptimal conditions with slightly more worn tyres, and they're also running out of deployment at the end of their runs.
Without a doubt, we've got Mike Newton coming up towards the end of the lap now as well. He was 2.5 tenths up, but he has quite a big jump from his lap in 8th place to Chris Johnson in 7th. Can he get in there? Yes, he can. He goes up into 4th place. Fantastic lap by Mike Newton.
So must have had a pretty poor final sector on his previous run then, because he found a lot of time compared to his previous effort then. So Mike Noon, he's beginning to string it together. Oh, well. Uh,
Is he gash? Oh, he's out. Nice.
that I literally couldn't have. I could not have timed that worse or better, depending on how you look at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, um, Owen then, I thought he was pushing, but I don't think he is.
Well, he was on a lap on a previous lap, and he's improved by 3 tenths. But I don't think he actually gained any positions, so he's in 7th place for the time being. But yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? McNoon was looking quite quick, and now he is going to be no higher than fourth with 8 minutes to go in the session.
Yeah, and by the looks of things, he's got Parsa behind him, and also just other drivers who are still getting into the groove of things. So yeah, he'll probably slip a few positions. I think he won't slip many positions. I'd imagine he'll still be in the top 8, but yeah, not what he wanted, and I believe he's in a similar boat to me of still, dealing with a little bit of adaptation, going from controller to wheel, especially on the F1 game. It's quite a difficult path, um, and sometimes the car can just get loose on you when you don't expect it. But I think it's hard to save. Speaking from my own experience, I think it's actually harder to catch the car from a slide on the wheel. I think the car goes on you way quicker. But M-Shep then improves his time by quite a good chunk, but he doesn't improve his position. But that may help him later on in the session if other drivers behind make improvements on their efforts.
It's gone for another spin at Chevrolet corner there, as it's watching Hickman here, who's 4 thousandths quicker in the first sector on his next attempt. He's going to have to go a bit quicker than that if he wants to catch up to Kamababo, but again, it's such a good corner, that turn 8, and you have to be late on the brakes as you go into turn 9 here. He's a bit wide on the exit there, but just bring it in nicely into 10, don't hit that curve, get a good exit, deploy the DRS, and then get ready to brake as late as you possibly can for this chicane. Super late on the brakes, try and hop over the curbs, run it alongside the ears, possibly a bit wide, but he tightens it up on the exit. So it's going to be an improvement here by Hickman. I don't know if it'll be good enough. Oh, again, he took a bit of the grass on the edge into that corner. Oh, and he's well wide coming on the exit as well. And, well, that makes me think he's possibly going for another lap straight away with the kind of exit that he got from that corner. Is he going straight away for another lap? I think he is.
He might be.
I think he's still full on his ERS deployment. Not full, but I think he's still using it. He hasn't switched down to 0. Yeah, I think he's pushing for another lap, isn't he? After that messy end to the previous one.
Yeah, it's just annoying there because he was just under a tenth up on his previous effort, but of course he did run out of deployment on his first run, I believe. So there was definitely time to be found there, and that looked like a bit of a snap there. And I think he's backing off. He's better off saving it for later on in the session. Although of course he's only actually going to get another run in. Wheelnut then is on a lap, and just be careful of that curb. That's a horrible curb on the exit there, by the way. If you take too much of that, your car will just go straight and refuse to steer, or spin violently. Who knows? But Daniel P. Wheelnut then.
Oh, Mr. John's just done that exact thing that you're just talking about on that exact curb, and managed to just keep it out the wall.
So I'm cursing random drivers here. I'll mention an incident and it will occur to somebody. But Wheelnut then taking a more optimal line into the pits. Okay. Obviously the improvement wasn't coming there, so there was obviously no real point continuing. Jack Pearson then second place.
It's very close for the second. 111.236.256 for third, 296 for fourth. So and all these guys can surely improve even further as well. But can anyone get close to that 10.8 by Kamababo? That is some lap time by Kamababo, and it is looking like the race that he does need to win. He's looking set at the moment. But, big cash! Oh my God, Parson nearly flipping over there. And that is session done for him, as there's another instance at that corner. and another car out. And Parset, again, it seems to happen quite regularly, I have to say, the DNFs from a qualifying session, but that was a big one.
Yeah, he's afraid. He's not afraid to put his car and his mechanics' energy levels on the line. So Parsa then out of the session and will start no higher than P6. Good news for Mike Noon. Noon. um, he's still in P5, so I think he'll
Yeah,
be well relatively pleased. Of course, I think he would have preferred to be out there right now and to try and find some improvement because he's only a tenth off the front row. But M-Shep then is on a lap. I've got Mercedes cars out there. I think that's Wilnut on an out lap. So I believe M-Shep is the next car to cross
yeah,
the line.
he
There's
will
not
be.
many
Yeah,
cars out there. There's a lot of cars in
yeah.
the pits.
Everybody else apart from M-Shep right now is in the pit lane or on an out lap. So it is just M-Shep on a lap, and he's actually nearly 6 tenths up at the minute. Although a bit of a dodgy run through the chicane there, he might have lost him a bit of time slightly, but if he can hold on, he might possibly get into the top 6 here, but I do feel he's lost quite a bit of time at the end of the lap.
Let's see, then across the line, the AlphaTauri driver comes, and it's P8, but he's close. He's in that
Yeah,
kind of gaggle of cars, but he's moved himself ahead of Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson then still struggling for qualifying pace. The trend well, it's not really a trend. It just seems to be his pace. I thought it was kind of him struggling to adapt to the game last season, but it just seems qualifying is just not going to click for him. And he's kind of always hovering in that kind of P8 to P12 kind of range.
just
But
watching Hickman then, who is now pushing on a lap. 24.7 was the first sector for Kamababo. What's Hickman's going to be? It's a 24.9, and even then, he's only just slightly off his previous one, so he can't match Kamababo in that first sector. And then you're sort of losing out then for the rest of the lap. Although that's a good run through there, late on the brakes since turn 9. Jack Pearson will get out of the way, and he might be able to claw back a bit of time throughout the lap yet, but I don't know if he'll be enough to pull 4 tenths.
perhaps not. But
He's backed off.
oh,
He slowed down.
okay.
He's going to
Well,
go again.
it makes sense, I suppose. He should have enough. Wheelnut is on a lap, and he's improving by a fair amount as well. I don't know what his situation was when he set his quickest lap. I don't know if he had the deployment he needed.
Kamababo's done what you said before on the curb, but he's got away with it in the gravel. I thought he was heading into the barrier. Sorry, Roy.
No worries. And Wheelnut, I think, took a little bit too much of that inside curve on the penultimate corner, but across the line he comes, and it's P2. It's at a 1:11.1, not quite the gap, not quite the lap he needed, but still an improvement nonetheless. So we'll have Theo, Jack, Owen. Is Owen on a lap? He is indeed. He's at turn 2. At turn 3.
Kamababo, I think he's going to go again for another lap, but wow, he got lucky there, because that was even more dramatic than the one that Mr. John had on the previous lap. I thought he was definitely heading for the wall, but he just about got away with it. So final runs then for everybody here. Wheelnut slightly down in the first sector, but we'll see what Hickman's doing. He's going to be the first to cross the line, isn't he?
Believe so, yes. Theo Hickman will be first across the line, followed by, I think, Wheelnut and then Owen. I'll have to change the cameras pretty quickly, but Theo then in this final sector. It's kind of where it all came undone for him on his most recent attempt, or he made it this far in the lap. That looks fairly nice through there, nice and low through here. He's got the line right, and to the line then, DRS wide open. It's P2, it's a 1:10.9, it's half a tenth away. Wheelnut pits, Owen crosses the line, and it's P3, it's another 1:10.9.
And now
Jack
and
Pearson.
Jack takes pole. Jack takes pole at the very end.
He was too close to the
Kamababo,
Mercedes.
that was improving.
Kamababo in the Alpine with just 2 more corners to go, effectively won, and flat out now through the final banked corner at Zandvoort. DRS wide open and to the line. It's a 1:10.6. Kamababo retakes pole position, and he was the last car across the line as well. So
Well, that was more like it, wasn't it, for a crescendo to the session. Fantastic stuff there. And as you say, Jack Pearson was right behind Owen, wasn't he? So I don't know if maybe he's got a bit of a toe as well throughout the lap, because he was flying there. And fantastic lap for Jack Pearson. It's on the front row of the grid for this race. But Kamababo, I mean, I know we don't have tyre carcass wear on, do we? That's the one that we don't have on, isn't it? Because he totally, I mean, that was a big spin he had, and that would have caused him some degradation to the tyres. I would imagine that spin that I saw him having a few minutes ago, and of course he'll be starting the race on those tyres.
And Mike Noon then, I think he'd be happy enough. Well, again, relatively speaking, with P6, it's absolutely not a disaster. I think Baza will be the driver to watch in this race. He's kind of the only big name towards the back of the grid. He was kind of the only one who didn't deliver any kind of competitive lap, and I'm kind of glad in a way that that Jack didn't take pole, because I wasn't able. The reason I mentioned he was close to the Mercedes is because I wasn't able to switch the camera quick enough.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
Jack takes pole. I was like, where is he? But anyway, still an impressive effort to take a front row start. So Kamababo then, it's the ideal scenario. If he can just get a good start, it's not the easiest track to overtake around. Not impossible though. The dirty air around here on the game isn't actually too bad, and the slipstreaming you get on the pit straight is quite strong. So let's see how this race pans out then. We are racing in Zandvoort, and it looks like a pretty good start from Kamababo. Jack Pearson then not with an ideal start there. Wheelnut gets a good start. He's going around the outside of Theo for P3 at turn 1. And Theo then, has he spun? He's had quite a wobble on the exit of turn 1, and he's now down into P5. So disastrous start then for the Williams driver, and he tries to go back up the inside of Mike Noon, but nothing working for him there. So Theo is now down to P5. Kamababo got the start that he needed, and he leads the race now from Jack Pearson in second.
Yeah, but it was Owen. It was Owen who spun. Owen got into a bit of trouble. Hickman did lose some positions, but Owen's at the very, very back. So just like in Spa, he's now right at the back, and he's going to have to make some crazy overtakes to get back through again. And Say Sports gets through, and Parser gets tapped by somebody, and he goes down to 8th place, 9th place, loses loads of positions. Don't know who hits him.
Mick Schumacher is in the wall. Not quite sure what caused that. I don't know if it was contact or if he just lost the car, but Mick Schumacher then towards the back of the grid, and we have side by side Merrick Quenby and M Shep, and the Mercedes moves his way past the AlphaTauri, or no, he doesn't, because M Shep launches it to the inside, and it was a clean move.
Oh, Mike News lost it at the penultimate corner. Penultimate corner, yeah, or final corner, penultimate corner, and he's going to lose a load of positions for that one. He's done a George Russell in qualifying last year, and Mike News now also drops to the back as Baz is going for Mr. John for 7th place here. It's a frantic start to this race. Parson in the pit lane, he's got damage. I imagine he won't be the only one to pit, and Baz it up into 7th. Well, Kaya's 9th.
Kaya's 9th, Baza is 7th. I think that kind of summarises how hectic this race has been, as Mick Schumacher and Indecisive Mackie pit after having their incident on lap 1. Kamababo then, Jack Pearson is still within DRS range. It's not enabled just yet. It will be on the next lap. But Jack Pearson then just needs to keep it neat and tidy behind. But the top 3 are kind of breaking away a little bit, because Theo doesn't really seem to have pace right now. He seems to be kind of dropping back a little bit. Maybe saving tyres, maybe just getting back into the groove after a fairly messy lap 1. But Theo then not in an ideal position. Sayer Sports doing quite well up in P5. And Chris Johnson only able to make his way up to 6th. And actually, Chris Johnson is under threat from Baza. I don't think he would have expected that on lap 1. Parsa is out of the session. So
I think he's DNF'd on track though. I don't think he's actually hit the wall, because he was in the gravel.
Oh, so Baz is out.
Oh, is that at the? It is at the final.
Oh,
corner.
There's another car. There's Owen.
Owen. Oh my God! Big crash at the exit. Well, surely this would be a safety car. This would be a red flag. He's blocking the pit lane entry as Wheelock gets in 7th place. Jack Pearson spun. Oh, Jack Pearson, it's a disaster. He was looking so good, and now he loses 2 positions, although he's only lost 2 positions. He hasn't lost a load more.
Yeah, so disaster avoided for Jack Pearson's virtual safety car. I think he would have preferred a full safety car there, but well, there we go.
Full safety car.
I'll just say things and they will happen. So that seems to be the mood for tonight. But Not what Camo Baba
Wow.
wanted to see, but I mean, it is kind of to be expected around here. Maybe not quite as hectic as that.
It's unbelievable, wasn't it?
Every
Incidents all over the place there.
I had a nice wide shot of the straight. I think I was spectating spectating Chris Johnson. So Baza was just kind of behind in the shot, but then his car just didn't appear. So I had a feeling something was up. Um, but that's a
Well,
hectic
who's going to
start.
pit?
Do you pit? I think you
But this is the
do.
crucial thing now, isn't it? I mean, it would be a long period to go on the medium tyres, but yeah, surely it's the most
Yeah,
sensible thing.
it's
And in they come, three, top four all coming in. Oh, Jack's going to be so annoyed, isn't he? That happened, that instance happens. And we'll see if anyone gains positions in the safety car period here. Everybody's coming in. Kaya's going to lead here.
Kaya
Kaya is going to
leads
lead the
the
race.
race.
Kaya leads, Kawababo out the pit lane then it's Wheelnut. So then Hickman, then Jack. So I think it's the top four was as you were, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's then Sayre Sports out behind as well. So no real hold-up. Shepherd changes his front wing. Mike Noon comes in and gets a penalty. So hard tyres for Jack Pearson.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that at all.
I don't know about that ever, to be honest. I don't know if that was a mistake by him, by the pit crew, by whoever. But who knows? Who knows? They may dial back in. I'm not quite sure of what the delta is like. Maybe it's a bit less around here than it is around other tracks, but it's I can't imagine it would be. But it's an interesting one then. But it's a change in strategy, which we do like to see. So let's have a look then. Who is on what tyres and who has stopped? So the only drivers who haven't stopped are Kaya and Red Bull Kim. And in terms of tyres, Red Bull Kim started on the hards, which I don't think I don't think I've ever seen anyone do before. But
Maybe he's just going to possibly anticipate rain at the very end. Maybe was 20% chance.
it's the only fathomable reason I can think of. The hards for this kind of race distance, they just don't work.
Yeah.
They might work for Jack. I don't know. I would never start on them anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting one there from the Haas strategists. But now
It's
Kaya pits.
And Jack's coming back in. Jack's coming back in to change the hard tyres, I assume. So he's going to have to queue. What a disaster.
Right.
Oh, look at him having to queue here. He was in second place a few laps ago, and now he's going to be at the very back.
Why has he done that?
Well, I imagine he just doesn't want to be on the hard tyres. But...
Yeah, but you don't want to be last either. Like...
He possibly wasn't expecting Kaya to pit either as well. Although it wasn't really massive, of course, because we are on the safety car. But oh dear, it's all gone to pieces, hasn't it, for Jack Pearson? He's looking so good as well.
Yeah, like, I hope he enjoys the extra lap of freshness, but I mean, I'm not quite sure it's going to overcome the deficit of being 7 places further back. So, it's an interesting one. I'll give him that. As he nearly crashes as he tries to rejoin the pack. There must be some method to the madness here, because the hards are crap, but they're not that bad.
Maybe he just point blank just didn't want them, and it definitely must have been a mistake when he pitted. So first time round, and he put the hard tyres on. So there he is on the mediums. He has sacrificed fourth place position, and will be in 11th for this restart, which are about to get underway with now. Red Bull came in 5th place, so the drivers behind are going to want to overtake him because he hasn't pitted. The rest of the field have pitted, and when's Kamababa going to drop it? Quite close still to the safety car, so he might have to back off a little bit more here, because safety car's only just come around the banker now with the final corner. Tell you what, if Wheelnut can do this at the right time, he might be alongside here. Look at him. Oh, look at it's like a NASCAR restart. This. They're on the bank and 2x2, and now he goes away, and Kamababo floors, and as you say, he actually, in the end, caught him out completely. And is Hickman going to go for second?
He may have the opportunity. Indeed, he does. He tries to go around the outside. Now, it is a bit banked, so the outside is an option, and they make a bit of contact, but think that was just about fair, and Theo then stays in third, gets a bit
Oh, Josiah
loose.
spun. Josiah spun on
Oh,
turn 2, and there's been a collision up front as well. I think Mike Newman might have tapped Red Bull Kim slightly, so Mike Newman may well have damage. I think he went into Red Bull Kim as they were trying to avoid the car, and Jack Pearson is also backing off quite a lot. I think Jack's got damage as well.
and Red Bull Kim has gone off in a fairly peculiar place. I don't think there was any contact with Jack Pearson. I think he may have been trying to get out the way as Kaya goes for a spin on those soft tyres, so that's them ruined. But Jack is now back up into P8. He will require another safety car or a lot of other incidents.
Jack possibly might have made an illegal overtake then. Do you think possibly?
I don't think
Because
illegal
he was
overtake.
going very, very slow.
I'm not. I don't think it was an illegal overtake. I just didn't know why Red Bull Kim kind of went straight off when there was a corner. But either way, then it's a disastrous restart for
Shep has
Haas.
hit the curb at a place you don't want to hit it, and he's off, and he's going to lose positions as well now in this absolutely wild race. And Wheelnut, Baba was a second and a bit clear, but Wheelnut closes right back in at the end of the lap. Mike Newman, is he going to get Chris Johnson for 5th place? No, Chris Johnson is going to try and get him back. Mike Newman will hang it round, get into turn 2, into 5th place. Mr. John in the fantastic 4th. Look at Mike Newman. Oh my God, did you see that?
Yeah, not quite sure that was the fairest of moves given the contact that was made at the end. But Mike Newman then, it was opportunistic, I'll give him that, as we have M-Chef going for another spin. So I don't think we've managed to go more than a sector without having somebody spinning or crashing, but that is the challenge of this track.
That's overtake of the season for me, to be honest, there by Mike Newman. I thought that was amazing. Totally just sent it, didn't he, on the bank, and just amazing overtake. And he's pulled right away. He's right away from Mr. John now. And now Chris Johnson's alongside Mr. John into the chicane. This might be a more conventional overtake, but no, Mike Newman, Mr. John even, manages to defend it for the time being. So it's 6/10 the gap at the front. DRS will be enabled next lap. Conor Bravo can't actually pull away, can he?
No, will not. And of course,
Chris Johnson, Mr. John.
DRS, Mr. John not with a lot of pace in that final corner. Chris Johnson should be doing more to defend from Jack Pearson here, because Jack Pearson's on the inside of both of them. Now, who will break the latest? It's fairly even. They're still side by side. Jack Pearson will have the inside line. Chris Johnson backs off because he knows he's not going to be able to hang around the outside of this corner, and wisely so. So Jack Pearson then, he's back up into 5th. If there is another safety car, then it may fall back into his hands. But at the moment, well, I suppose it's kind of nullified now. It's kind of, with how the race has panned out since the restart, I suppose he's kind of back to where he was. He's effectively 4th with Mike Noon's penalty. So, yeah, he's where he was with a lap fresher tyres.
We're at the halfway stage of this race, and I think for the first time, we can actually have a bit of a breather, because it has been absolutely wild stuff.
Oh, when I say that,
we have another yellow flag. It's Mick Schumacher at the first corner. But incredible race that we're seeing here. And Mike Newman, I think he went off slightly at turn 10, and Jack Pearson's closed right back in now, so DRS will be deployed, and he's going to have a run now on him. And can Jack Pearson go for an attack and overtake here? Mike Newman having to defend, and defends massively. He's just nearly hit the pit wall. Such was his defence, and then he goes super defensive again, and Jack Pearson goes late on the brakes, and he goes into the gravel, and Mike Newman manages to force Jack into making a mistake there, and Chris Johnson gets through.
Yeah, Jack Pearson then very much overestimating the braking abilities of his McLaren, as Chris Johnson slips back past into P5. So Chris Johnson doing his usual trick there of just not getting involved and reaping rewards from it. But out in front, Camo Babo is now 2.2 seconds clear of Wheelnut. He's managed to find the groove that he was in beforehand, and Theo Hickman not exactly making a huge indent on Wheelnut ahead of him. So we've got a fairly big field spread, and as you said, hopefully a chance for we have the
Stereogram.
I don't think
the beaches around Zandvoort right now, and he's still spinning around on the track, so it may trigger the VSC. This, we'll see. Nothing so far, but Jack Pearson is closing back in again on Chris Johnson after that gravel moment before, and he's using the DRS. He's closing in. Is he going to go super late on the brakes again this time, but not hit the gravel? No, he backs off, thinks better of it, but he might be able to have a run into turn 3.
Oh, Chris Johnson lacking a lot of traction there. Oh, he's lacking a lot
Oh!
of grip there.
He's lacking a front wing.
Yeah, so Chris Johnson then, known for staying out of trouble, has managed to find trouble all on his own and now has no front wing. Sayer Sports is the car behind him. I think Chris just moved to one side. Oh!
Oh! He's... Oh my God, did he save that? How did he save that? It was like the car just automatically reset for him there. That was an unbelievable save by Chris Johnson.
So I think Joe may have turned a bit too much there because, I mean, it looked like... yeah, it was slightly dodgy, but no harm done. So... that aforementioned breather is not coming.
And I tell you what, it's actually looking like it's starting to cloud over. Do you think? It looks like it's going a little bit cloudy overhead. There's 7 laps to go. There was a 20% chance of rain towards the end. It's definitely gone cloudy.
Yeah, it has indeed got cloudier, but we'll need a safety car, I think, if we're going to have any chance of significant precipitation. But Theo, he's closing in a little bit on wheel. Now, Camobabo is now 3.3 seconds clear. Stereogram's does crash. Is this going to be the safety car that we would like to see if we're going to get...
Mike Canoon spun at Chevrolet corner, and Jack Pearson goes through into 4th. And Mike Canoon, I don't know if he's got big damage, but he's got away with it. He's got going again. He might have some rear wing damage, but he's lost the position, and we do not have a safety car.
So no safety car then. Oh, well, we have a Haas off. I believe that's Red Bull Kim. Potentially just staying out of people's way in a drastic fashion, but no harm done there. So M-Shep is now looking to make a move on Indecisive Mackie. It looks like he has a good bit more pace than the Alpine driver. Of course, M-Shep did end up in a gravel trap earlier on in the race. Now, can he make his way past the Alpine for P8? I have to say, a safety car would really spice this race up here. This is the only battle that we have on track right now. And oh
my God! Shep has deployed the ERS a bit too early there around the banking, and he just goes straight into the wall massively. Brutal hit with the barrier, and obviously that is a safety car.
Again, I just said something and it happened. I'm enjoying my new genie life, but well, this could be good for Jack Pearson then with his 1 lap of extra freshness on his tyres. Of course, he was in P4 anyway. I will still condemn the decision to pit, but
this is a fantastic race.
Yeah, I think Jack Pearson's got very, very lucky here. And Mike Noon, I think Mike Noon can pit and he'll only lose 2 positions and he can serve that 5-second penalty.
Of course, yeah, he got the 5-second penalty, didn't he? And that was for speeding, wasn't it? In the pit lane first time round, so surely it would be the best decision to get rid of it. Jack's coming in again, is he? Okay, I mean, look at the weather though. It's definitely getting cloudy and he's going to put a fresh set of softs on.
This makes more sense.
Yeah. And Mr. John coming in as well. Well, I'll tell you what, they're all coming in. They're all coming in from the 4th onwards here. And Theo spun onto the safety car. But nobody's going to catch up to him, so he'd get away with it.
And unfortunately for Camo Babo, Wheelnut and Theo Hickman, they're behind the safety car. So they're going to have to defend.
That's it for them.
They can't get away with this. So, well, they can get away with it.
The chance.
Yeah, so... Well...
So is it being a bad strategy call, possibly from the top 3? Because everybody else has come in. Well, Indecisive hasn't, but everybody else, and Kaya hasn't, but everybody else is putting a fresh set of soft tyres on.
So, well, we could be in for a pretty spicy end to this race.
Can you imagine if Jack Pearson wins this? He's spun, he's been hit, he's put hard tyres on, mediums, queued behind his teammate. What a win this would be.
Yeah, and he tried to end up in the ocean at one point with how late he was braking at turn one.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
well, it would be quite the strategic decision, quite the path to victory. But and potentially, who know, it could even be the first time in TGP history that I thought Kamababa was pitting
No,
there. Could be potentially the first time in TGP history that a driver has won the race using all three dry compounds.
possibly. But I tell you something that will help the top three, and that's Mick Schumacher in 11th place. But he is in between Hickman and Jack Pearson. The driver is not going to unlap himself, so that may allow the top three to pull away slightly at this restart because Jack is going to be flying on those fresh softs, isn't he? And then Mike Noonan and Joe Sayer and etc. are going to have to try and pass indecisive. So what an opportunity for Jack here once he gets past the lap car to close in on the top three.
Yeah, exactly the opportunity that Jack Pearson needed, and well, he got lucky from from his strategic decisions earlier in the race, but this one was definitely the right call to make, and he just needs to execute it now because we will get 3 or 4 laps of racing at the end, and he has to pass 3 cars, so he's going to have to be pretty direct with his moves. He can't make any half moves. He needs to be pretty sure that they're going to stick. But he'll just have better performance in terms of everything, really, in terms of traction, braking, etc. And now we have the safety car in at the end of this lap. So we are going to get 4 laps of racing. So that's exactly what Jack Pearson needed to hear. So maybe he can even pressure the drivers ahead into getting penalties for track limits, and that's something that Jack Pearson will need to avoid and not spoil the party. But
Yeah, well,
Camo
I'm
Babo
just
then just needs to do what he did
I'm,
last time.
I'm hoping that Jack doesn't have any sort of instance here with Mick Schumacher ahead. Look at Cameron Babo backing them up, and again, when's he going to drop his? Again, it's going to be a bit like a NASCAR restart, and Wheelnut on the outside this time with the banking. Can he react a bit quicker this time around? No, he can't. Cameron Babo's gone, and Hickman is going to be right alongside. In fact, Hickman passes him now, but is it legal?
It's
Because
not.
as they cross the line, the race is back underway, and Hickman is ahead, and seemingly he's got away with it.
He's got away with it in game, but that's not something that is legal. And Jack Pearson then gets a pretty poor exit. I think he was a bit ambitious there. Just needs to bide his time. There's no point messing around right now. Just wait for the straights. Wait for
It must
the
be
traditional overtaking places.
It must be so distracting being in that lap car there. But Wheelnut got on the curb in round turn 1 as well, and Jack Pierce had to back off from that. But now he's flying on those fresh soft tyres. Is it going to be worth a dive bomb on Wheelnut? No, not just yet. But look at the grip he has. Look at the purchase he's getting through those tyres around these corners. And surely it won't be long as Wheelnut hits the curb there. Oh, but so did Jack. So that slides him around slightly. Can he get past Wheelnut? He's got to get past immediately if he wants to catch up to Callum Babo.
He needs to find alternative lines here. He needs to kind of go deep and then just focus on the exit, because he's not gonna do much if he just follows the line. But look how much more of the apex he's able to take compared to Wheelnut ahead of him. And through the final corner, then just keep it steady. And he's got the slipstream, he's got the run on Wheelnut, but I don't think he's going to be close enough on this occasion, despite the better braking performance. He tries around the outside to see what kind of grip he can get. But he just doesn't see. He seems to be struggling for traction a little bit, and he's letting Camo Babo get away here. This could be an opportunity for Jack here, but no, Daniel still has the traction. Theo is very slow through here. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he had a bit of a moment on the exit, or
there we go.
Jack Pearson side by side with Wheelnut. This would be a fantastic move if he can pull it off, and indeed he has. Yeah, I thought for a moment there he's gonna be spinning left, because the front wing was still just about alongside. But Jack Pearson, he needs to pass Theo now.
I think he's letting him through. I think he's letting him through.
I think Theo's
letting him through.
I think he's letting Wheelnut through.
Oh, did they touch?
Oh, I think
there's damage running across the circuit, and Wheelnut's gone in the gravel. I think they might have touched.
I don't know what happened there. Was that a Jeddah situation where the car behind was misreading what was going on and hit the back
Yeah.
of the car in front? But Mike Noon then is now on the podium after all of this. Not quite sure
Well,
how
not
that's
yet.
happened. He's had quite a few
Because
spins and
Hickman's
he's
trying to go back through on the inside here and late on the brakes and he gets back ahead, but Mike Doon manages to dummy and get back around and gets back into third place. Well, it's going to totally confuse a moment there, and as you say, I think it was a Jeddah situation, wasn't it? And Wheelnut has definitely got damage and he's dropping further back. Oh, he's not going to be happy because now he's down into 7th. Chris Johnson's through, and so is Say Sports.
so not quite sure what happened between the two drivers there. I don't think Jack Pearson has the pace to catch up to Kamababo. I don't think he has quite the rhythm and the confidence around this track to lure in the Alpine driver. He's only got a lap and a half to go, and the gap, if anything, the gap is increasing. So I think it may just be P2.
The gap's not increasing between Hickman and Mike Newman and Chris Johnson and Say Sports here because no, Hickman can't get through. Oh, Mike Newman takes a big chunk of curb through there and just about gets away with it without going into the gravel. Chris Johnson right on the back of Say Sports and was pushing through the corner. So we're going to have a battle for third place and a battle for fifth place on this final lap then. It's going to be interesting to see what decisions made with that instant with Hickman and with Wheelnut on a previous lap. But is Hickman going to go for third place here? Mike Newman tries to defend on the inside, and I think he might have done it. Chris Johnson alongside Say Sports. Chris Johnson in fifth place, but the battle's not over for third.
Indeed, it's not. Theo then, despite the worn tyres, is trying to make moves on Mike Noon. They were almost side by side there, but Mike Noon had the better exit, and actually Theo does have a bit more straight line speed. There's a bit of contact made there. I'm not quite sure how what to make of that one, but Mike Noon then, as Chris Johnson retires from the race.
Johnson's out. Now, well, we just saw those two touch, and I think Chris Johnson must have touched with Say Sports, who have crashed in that position, mustn't he? Because he's gone off straight in the middle of the track there, so it must have just been a more dramatic version of what just happened between Hickman and Mike Noon. These two are still battling towards the end of the lap here.
Theo is he's not really got the traction that he needs. Does he have the braking performance? I don't think he does. But Mike Noon, of course, does have a penalty, so Theo will still retain the podium position behind the Alfa Romeo. And speaking of retaining positions, Camo Babo has retained P1 since the very start of this race, and he comes home to win in Zandvoort. Jack Pearson.
Oh, Jack's out of fuel! He's out of fuel! That just about sums this race up. McNewn's got a penalty though, so Jack will get a podium. Hickman will get second. Saysport's going to be fifth. Kaya is going to finish in sixth place in this incredible race. Mr. John seventh. Wheelnut won't be happy with that instance. Whatever happened, he's in eighth. And oh wow! I mean, what else is there to say? What a race! Jack Pearson ran out of fuel at the very end and loses the position.
Wow.
Hang on, that race had two safety cars. Jack Pearson still ran out of fuel.
Did he run out of fuel, or was he letting someone through because he's not looking to get involved?
Well, actually, his fuel light isn't flashing, is it?
Oh, we have that weird penalty again.
Oh, well, that's obviously not a legitimate thing, but his fuel light wasn't flashing, was it? So was he maybe...
I think...
Honestly, I honestly don't know. That was such a bizarre race. The guy at the draft of the day with the sixth place finish. And if there's any penalties for any drivers further ahead, he might get a top 5.
And yeah, that's the thing. There may be some issues with Hickman. He did get a 10-second penalty, and do you know what? There may have to be a new rule implemented where that stands, because he did overtake before the start-finish line. A rule which I don't think should exist, but it does, which is the bottom line. So he didn't give the place back immediately, and he took a while, and then when he did give the place back, or attempt to give the place back, it resulted in contact. Now, I'm not sure who was at fault for that contact, I just want to specify, but it'll be interesting to see what is made of that. So Camo Babo then, he had a fairly calm race. Not much going on with him, but just a pole win in the fastest lap, and happy days for him. But Jack Pearson then, it's either Theo or Jack. I'd almost be leaning more towards Jack Pearson for P2.
Well, Jack did not run out of fuel, and Jacka was letting Theo go back through because he let him past on that previous lap. Remember when he slowed down, which caused the instant wheel nut? Jack actually thought he would back off as he couldn't get close enough to Kamababo for the win. So he tried to do something kind and ended up. Well, I suppose he still got third place because of Mike Noon's penalty, but
Well, I think that's what he knew.
Totally,
he knew about Mike Noon's penalty, so he thought, well, if Mike gets past, it doesn't actually matter. So, I suppose in a way it makes sense. If Theo's letting him through, return the favour. It's a podium regardless. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I finish second or if I finish third, I don't really care about.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see what kinds of decisions are made, aren't we? With that
everything.
With that whole thing, because that was incredible stuff. But I mean, what I do know for sure is that Kaya has surely got his best ever result in TGP. Whether it's the 6th place or the 5th place, I can't believe that. That is just incredible stuff for Kaya. And Kamababo will have cut the gap then down to, it will be down to that 23 points, won't it? 22 points because he got the fastest lap. So the night that Wet Lemons wasn't here, he gets a 3rd place and a win. I think he'll be satisfied with that, and he's right back in the championship now, isn't he?
Except he might not be, because I'm not sure he's here next week.
Oh, really?
I heard he was missing some other week.
Oh,
I'm not entirely sure though. That may need to change now, but if it can. But
well, I won't be here next week because I don't want to go to Russia. Maybe that's why Kamababa can't make it out there.
Perhaps I'm actually not here either. For different reasons, but it will be Dom and Johnners, who will be your commentators. It's the first time that both of us haven't been here for quite some time, or sorry, I say both of us. Either of us haven't been here for like 2 seasons now or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, they will provide great coverage nonetheless from a great championship, which. Maybe won't be quite as hectic as that race, but we should still see great action nonetheless. So tune in next Wednesday at around 7:30 UK time, and hopefully you will enjoy the racing that is put on at that time. So good night, and we'll see you then.